That's all very helpful. Mr. Chairman, do I have any time?
Sure, go ahead.
Got a few more minutes. And my other question was, because I'm very pro small business. I want you guys to be able to create jobs and opportunity and have investment, but we've been talking about a lot of policy changes here in Congress, and of course you all mentioned about support of raising gasoline taxes to fund the next highway reauthorization bill. But on top of that, if that's done here in Congress, we also have a new piece of legislation going through called cap and trade, which could raise your costs as small businesses, especially your utility costs, your fuel costs, and then we of course are debating health care, which could also raise your costs. So I guess my question is, the small business people, you're talking about possibly raising gasoline taxes to help fund the next highway reauthorization bill, and I'm not sure what the right answer is on that yet, but if your health care costs should possibly go up and then cap and trade raise your utility costs and fuel costs, can you all sustain those cost increases to your business, and will you still be competitive? Anybody? Mr. Mills?
I think that if it's across the board, as far as being competitive and all the contractors would be on the same level playing field, I think that that's okay. As far as the increased costs, ultimately it would be passed on to the owner, which would be, in my case, the consumer, which would be Pennsylvania, which would also be the taxpayer of Pennsylvania. I think for the amount of jobs that we create and the amount of families that we feed, I think it's well worth it.
Likewise, we refer to it as a user fee at our company versus a gas tax. And I think the benefits of it, increase or decrease congestion, safer roads in our rural part of our territory and so forth, far outweigh the increased expense that our company would incur. And as the other topics of health care and cap and trade, I think we would be in a position with our current expense levels and so forth to be able to withstand the little that I'm understanding of the new bill, be able to withstand that with our current levels of funding for that business.
That's interesting. Even though you've gone from 1,500 to 1,000 employees, you could withstand those cost increases.
I would have to see what the final cost increases are, but I think we invest heavily in our people. We have a very robust health care plan for our people, and I think anything that we're being obligated to do, we are already doing. So I'm confident that we can handle that.
Good.
I think it's always an interesting, argument when you pose it as an increase in costs and operations, as if the way we're headed is not ultimately taking us to a much more expensive end game. So this idea that you take this slice and it's going to cost you more for all of these things, yes, but isn't it really costing us a lot more for not doing this in the long run? I mean, every one of these are issues that have been piling up. So we're at that moment in history where we're trying to take care of a lot of stuff, and it happens to be all at once. I think small businesses are exactly as has been said. We're able to respond to those, and we'll survive and we'll achieve and we'll prosper as long as it's all headed to reinvestment and recapitalizing this country. I think we're in good shape.
We look at it the same way as Tom said, as a user fee. I mean, if you're going to use the road, you might as well pay the fee to use the road. And an increase in the user fee will give us more transportation work, which will give our company more work, which in turn will help us pay for the additional cost of the health care and the cap and trade. So we strongly are in favor of a user fee increase.
Our association agrees. We, in our Toward Zero Deaths proposal, actually have addressed an increase in the user fee. And I think we also have to look at it as a true investment. And the payoff is in creating jobs and saving lives. And we can get into all sorts of subsets of that, but that's the way we approach things.
We're in favor of increasing the gas tax and, in fact, indexing that to inflation. And just from a company perspective, we look at it really two ways. We pay now or we pay later. If we pay more in gas tax and we increase our internal fuel cost, that's a cost that I think we can absorb. But we're not just building those systems, we're also using those systems. We dispatch 35 crews every day, and they've got to get to the job site on time to respond to our customers. And so if we don't make the investment, then we're not going to be able to do the job that we've been contracted to do. So we're in favor of that.